Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sofia binti SHAMSUDDIN and my metric number is 1917272. So today I would like to share with you guys about the history of preservation of Quran based on the book title An Approach to the Quranic Sciences in chapter 5. So as you can see here, it shows about the reason why Quran not preserved as a written book during the lifetime of the Prophet. One of the reason is because Quran was not revealed all at one time. It is because actually Allah want to answer the Muslim question and want to give an easy way for Muslim or for people to understand Quran. So it give one by one. So Allah revealed the Quran one by one, not all at one time. Another reason why Quran not preserved as a written book also because Allah had granted a distinction on to the Quran against other divine scriptures. Allah already mentioned that Quran is different from other divine scripture because like Zabur, Taurah and Injil not same as Quran because Quran last long until Qiyamah, but not the other kitab. And the third one is because its preservation was done more through memory than pen and paper. It's actually the Arabic people, they usually love to use their memory, use their brain, then take note something, then write. So basically, if something came to them, then usually try to remember and put it in their mind, in their brain. Here, we can see the companions. Some of the companions that memorized entire Quran flawlessly in their memory. Okay, some of the companions are Sayyidina Abu Bakar, Sayyidina Omar, Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Ali, the four Khalifah, Abdullah bin Mas'ud, Abdullah bin Abbas, and Sayyidina Salama. Here we can see that it also include a woman in this category. So basically, here refer that in Islam or regarding the Quran, the memorizing of the Quran, it not refer to the gender. It's based on one person. If one person eager to memorize it, even if she a girl or a woman, she can manage to get it. Next, during the first stage, writing of the Quran in the property era. Okay, although the preservation of the Quran had rest mainly upon the memory of the companions, the Prophet had made special arrangement to have it written as well, meaning to say it's not preserved as a book, but still Prophet asked some Sahabah to write it down because I can say that this one of the strategy or smart strategy by the Prophet to the future. The transcription of revelation was assigned by Prophet to Zaid bin Thabit with some other companions. The number of these writers has been counted up to 40. Sayyidina Uthman stated that it was the practice of the Prophet to instruct the scribe to write it after such and such verse in such and such surah. Mostly the Quranic verse were written on tablets of stone, parchment, or of leather, animal bones, leaf of tree, and piece of bamboo. Some companions also used to write down the Quranic verse for their personal record. So, based on this slide, I can say that although the Arabians at that time use their memory to memorize something, but I can say that the Muslim at that time can also talk about the future, about the future generation. How can they know Quran? How they can know the ayah? So to achieve that, they write everything to help the future generation. So this slide show among the well-known writers of the preservation of the Quran during that time. Okay. So actually, there's many others many other writers that also write it, but I just wrote, I just wrote, I just show to you among the well-known writers. I think that's all from me about the history of preservation of Quran during prophetic era in first stage. We will continue with the second stage with my friend.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AMANINA. So I'm going to talk about the second stage, which is the collection of the Quran during the period of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. The reasons of these compilations is due to the death of hundreds Hufaz that were killed during the Battle of Yamamah against the fake Rasul. So Sayyidina Umar Khattab became concerned, fearing that Quran could be lost. So he expressed his fears to Caliph Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and asked him to compile the Quran into permanent book form, which at first Sayyidina Abu Bakr was shocked at the request because the Prophet never do it, so he's afraid. But Sayyidina Umar persuaded him to do it, and at last he has agreed to do it. And then Sayyidina Abu Bakr called upon Hazrat Zaid bin Sabit to collate and compile the Quran into one volume. He's astonished at first, but finally agreed to it. And then we move to the process. Well, Zaid ibn Sabit was appointed as the compiler due to his once became an official translator and interpreter for the Prophet ﷺ, and he was called to write the divine revelations whenever it came to the Prophet from the heavens. And the purpose of this method was that utmost care be taken in the transcription of the Quran. At first, he collected all the written parts of the Quran from everywhere, such as dead leaf, parchment, and pieces of leather. And he also listened to many of the Hafiz who recited verses from their memories. And the second one, after having carefully authenticated and cross-checked each ayah for the mutawatir, he compiled the written Quran into one single volume, which is Sayyidina Abu Bakr became its official custodian. And then he passed on to the Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab during his caliphate. And after his death, the Quranic volume was passed into the custody of Hafsah, which is his daughter and also the wife of Rasulullah SAW. So the advantages of Abu Bakr Mus'haf is the first one is the authenticity of this Mus'haf was agreed upon by the majority of the scholars, and the second one is the verses in this Mus'haf is not included the abrogated ones, and the third one is contain all the verses including the nasakh and non-nasakh verses, and the fourth one is in its original form as revealed by the Jibril to the Prophet ﷺ. And the fifth one is the purpose of this transcription was to prepare an organized document with the collective endorsement of the entire Ummah. So the reference can be made when required. Then we move to the third stage, which is the collection of the Quran in the period of Sayyidina Uthman al-Affan. The reason of the collection is due to the widespread of Empire Islam. So many companies has been sent to the countries to teach Quran, especially to those non-Arabic speaking people. And so those people also learn the Quran from the Arabic soldiers that was taught from their own qira'ah and pronunciation based on 7 letters. And the difference, because of that, the difference of qira'ah and pronunciations based on 7 letters caused many misunderstandings among the Muslims and led to the factions, as they were wrongly accused as disbelievers due to different recitals. Thus, Caliph Uthman al-Affan took the initiative to make copies from the original to solve the problem. So the process of collection during the Sayyidina Uthman al-Affan is first, Caliph Uthman al-Affan ordered his 4 trusted companions to make 6 copies using the Quraysh language as it was revealed in their language. And then the new naskahs or the new copies then were sent to 6 different places, which is Mecca, Medina, Basrah, Damascus, and Kufa, in order to solve the problems. And the Mus'haf is known as Mus'haf al-Usmani and has been used until now. And then the third one is, after having several standard transcripts of Quran, Caliph Uthman al-Affan got all other manuscripts that belong to individual burned in order to preserve the uniform. So the uniform will be the same in every aspect. So there will be no more dispute about the different recitals. So the name of Sahabah or the author is, the first one is Zaid bin Sabit, the second one Abdullah bin Zubair, the third one is Zaid bin As, and the fourth one is Abdurrahman ibn Harith. And last but not least is the advantages of Mus'haf Usmani. So the first one is in proper sequence. As before, during the collections of Caliph Abu Bakr, the surahs and verses were not in their proper sequence. So in Mus'haf Usmani, they were written in their proper sequence as part of a single transcript. And the second one is agreed upon the Sahabah. This Mus'haf Usmani was agreed by 12,000 of Sahabah based on their strong and clear arguments. And the third one is one pronunciations. All the pronunciations refer to the Qur'an to abolish the misunderstanding, which is the main reason of these compilations. And the fourth one is mutawatir. The written verses is mutawatir or acceptable without any doubt from Rasulullah SAW. So the verses is unquestionable. So only the mutawatir verses will be included into the Mus'haf Usmani, and it's not was not included within the abrogated ones.
Fourth stage, steps taken to facilitate recitation of the Quran. On this stage, Islam deals with the situation where that Islam not only spread in Arab region, but is also well known worldwide, including non-Arab countries. Therefore, many fuqaha, which is Muslim jurists, was taking the steps to introduce Quran with dots. History of the Quran. Dots on the words of Arabic, which is the science of making Quran readable for non-Arabs. The prominent Egyptian linguist states Abu Aswa al-Duli, by the order Sayyidina Abu ibn Abi Talib, was the first person to develop Arabic grammar. Diacritical marks. Abdul Aswad Duli, which is Fatha, placed a dot over the letter. Kasrah, placed a dot under the letter. Dhammah, dot in front of the letter. and tanwin placed with two dots in same position with fathah, kasrah, and dhammah. 5 and 10, which is akhmas and ashar. Akhmas is placing a sign after every 5 verses, which is kha. Ashar is placing a sign after every 10 verses, which is ain. Some early scholars consider this sign permissible, while others held them to be reprehensible according to Al-Itqan. Step taken to facilitate recitation of the Quran. Ahzab and Manazil. Quran has been divided into 7 stages of the recitation. State in Al-Burhan fil Unumil, which is Surah Al-Kahfi, Surah Al-A'raf, Surah Al-Hajj, Surah Al-Fatihah, Surah An-Nisa, Surah Al-Ra'd, and Surah Al-Ikhlas. Ajza, which is Ajza plural of juz. The Quran is divided into 30 parts. The division was made after the period of companions of facilitate teaching of the Quran. Section which is Ruku. The purpose of this sign is to determine an average portion of the verses which could be recited in 1 unit rak'at of Salah. According to Fatwa Al-Buriyah, Quran has divided to 540 rak'at. For the sign to stop, Rumus in Awqaf have 7 Quran signs of stopping.
My name is Siti Anisah binti Muhammad NOORESHAM, and I will continue my group presentation. Congratulations, you have arrived at the 5th stage. So in this stage, we will talk about the printing of the Holy Quran. I present my point according to 4 subtopics, which is the first one is introduction, where I will talk about the before and after printing, and then the second one, which is the recitation or qiraat. I will talk about the fundamental rules and how it's spread. And then the third one, I will talk about the compilation, which is the 7 recitals, 10 recitals, and also 14 recitals. And lastly, the controversial work, which is the work of Ibn Mujahid. Nowadays, we use printed Quran in our daily life. But before printed Quran was invented, the Quran was written by hand by the calligrapher. Then, after printing technology evolved, the first printed Quran was printed at Hamburg at 1113 Hijrah, and it is still preserved until now. And currently, it is not at Hamburg; it is at Darul Kutub Al-Masriyah in Egypt. Not long after that, the printed Quran used worldwide even until now. So what is recitation or qiraat? It means the difference in recitation without changing the overall meaning of the verse, and it is also the different modes of reading the Quran without changing the meaning at all. As we know, Quran spreading primarily depending on the memorization of the Hafiz and also the narration. Even in Uthmani transcription, it is kept clean, which means it doesn't have any diacritical or marks or signs, so that when the reciters sent by Sayyidina Uthman to teach people Quran, they will teach the Quran according to their style of reading. So from that evolved the different modes of reading the Quran. Then it led to different recital styles in Muslim society worldwide. Starting from that, many Muslim scholars, many Muslims made journey or mission to learn all the reading styles, recitation styles, and teach to others. From that exists the science of qiraat, or the science of recitation. Many Muslims learn different styles of reading and transmit it to other generation, and that is how the recitals transmit until today. So they need to refer these recitals to the Imam of Qiraat, and there are three fundamental rules for these recitals to be accepted The first one is there should be room for it to be in Uthmani transcription. Second one is it conform the rules of Arabic grammar. And third one, it should be authentically proved to be from the Holy Prophet and commonly known to the Imams of recitals. Any recitals that short one of these fundamental rules cannot be accepted. How the reciters develop? The Imam, they will collect one or two recitation and then name it. Later, they will teach their recitals exclusively. The compilation of Qiraat happened when the scholars start to compile the different kind of recitation in one book altogether. And among the scholars who compiled it are Imam Abu Ubaid Qasim bin Salam, Imam Abu Ja'far Tabari, and also Allamah Abu Bakar Ahmad bin Musa bin Abbas bin Mujahid, or popularly known as Ibn Mujahid. He published a book of collection, only 7 recitals in there. The work of Ibn Mujahid become overly popular. At some point, people believe that only recitation in Ibn Mujahid book are correct and authentic, and others from outside the Ibn Mujahid list are not acceptable. From here, we can see several reciters that Ibn Mujahid compiled, and in this table, there are the name of the reciters, where the reciters are the most popular at what place, and also the opportunity or maybe advantages of that reciter. The controversial work of Ibn Mujahid later was misinterpreted by the well-known Orientalists. He said that 7 reciters correspond to 7 letters, and he also claimed that these reciters were the only one that is acceptable and also authentic. But Ibn Mujahid himself never claimed it that way. It is only misinterpreted and misunderstood by others, which is the Orientalists. And all other Muslim scholars refute this idea. In order to make the Muslims community not confused, there are other scholars that collect 10 recitals, which is 3 addition reciter from the Ibn Mujahid work, and also there are also the 14 reciter, which is adding 4 from the 10 reciter. For the conclusion, whatever the recital is, it needs to fulfill 3 fundamental rules that I have stated before, and if it is not fulfilling it need to be rejected and it is not reliable. For example, Ibn Miqsam and Ibn Shambus, they violated these 3 established rules, which Ibn Miqsam said that only first 2 rules are sufficient enough for the recital to be accepted. And while Ibn Shambus said that recital shall be acceptable even though it fulfill only the first rule. So these views was refuted and rejected collectively from these scholars. I think that's all from our group. Thank you for listening.